what we're going to do is to start with our friend Nora Perkins, who's Dorothy's literary agent, and she's going to come up and talk to us about all the latest news from the publishing world. Real books, audiobooks, Kindle books.
Kindle books. I'm not going to say a word about Kindles, actually. If you have Kindle questions, can you all hear me if I stand like this? Perfect. I will keep this very short so that nobody falls asleep while I'm talking, because I'd be horrified. People do all the time at work, so I'd rather not do that here. And I usually, as always, I suspect that in this room, most of you know more about the publishing updates and the world of Dorothy's books and publishing than I do, which is usually quite embarrassing. But I think there are probably a couple of bits of information that you might know if you looked up on Amazon or was the sort of person who sort of Googled these things intensively. But otherwise, I can, especially for our American audience members today, hopefully some good news. So, but before I get into that, thank you very much indeed, and especially to Betty, who's every year I get the email and it's Betty saying, we're having another conference, obviously, and would you like to come? And it's just one of the highlights of my year. So I love coming up. I love being here. Thank you all for a warm welcome. And so I guess, and I was also very excited to meet David, who you'll meet afterwards too. It's wonderful. This has been the highlight, is there's audiobooks. So anyways. So I guess, we did an update last year, and it was all about the exciting republication in the UK of Lymond. Who wants to Lymond? Thank you. Good. I always say that and then think, oh no, have I done it wrong again? And of course now you're all waiting for Niccolo, I assume, and wondering that is. At the moment, the reason why it was going to be publication reissue in the UK and the Commonwealth of Lymond was going to be earlier this year, but they have such beautiful covers for the Niccolo series, and really beautiful, that they wanted to give it what they call a front list lead time. Technically speaking, that means giving the booksellers longer to see the books, get talking about them, order them, think about them, rather than just kind of dumping them into the market. And I know some people felt like the distribution and the chat, there wasn't quite enough for Lymond. That tends to be left, it's Waterstones, what can you do? Usually it's Waterstones' ordering team not doing it properly, but that's okay. But this year, hopefully people have had a lot of time to make something really proper out of these beautiful books that are coming. So I think at the moment it's September for Niccolo, and that will also be the new audiobooks. So the old ones will come off, and then they'll be, slow down. I'm so sorry, I do talk too fast, it's true. So the audio and the new paperback in their beautiful covers for Niccolo will be with us in September, unless there's any further news, but I think that's where we're at with that. In the US, I had an email this morning from the wonderful editor, and I actually thought, who does the Whispering Gallery commissioning? Because there's the US editor of Dorothy is a delightful young woman named Anna Kaufman, and I think she'd be fun to talk to. She's been a fan for a long time too, and now she's charged with publishing these in the US, so she's been absolutely wonderful. And she emailed me this morning to say, good news, they've just received what we call the advanced copies, the brand new copies of the American paperbacks, which will be out on the 14th of May. And she said she was very excited because she'd written a letter to Chelsea Clinton and sent the whole set to her. So there you go, who's a big fan, and Diana Gabaldon and many others as well. US fans in the room, if you have favorite historical fantasy novelists, come and find me at the dinner if you guys are there and tell me about them, and I'll make a note and we'll make sure that they get a copy of at least the first book to just get the buzz going and people talking about it. So if you have somebody you think who is who could speak about it on Twitter or talk about it or be a great person, a voice for Dorothy in the US, let me know, because that's not a market I know as well. So that's very excited. And alongside that will be the audiobooks as well for Lymond. Watch this space for Niccolo. They're going to do a reissue in the US as well, and the audio, but we don't have a date for that yet. I think they're going to see how this kind of rolls out and when the next one to do is. Also King Hereafter in the US will happen as well, but we don't have a date yet. So it's coming, but in May 14th, look out for it. They're going to be lovely. And they're sort of like the UK covers, but moved on a bit, and every market's a bit different, so they'll see a slightly different revisioning of that. They look great. I can't wait to get my copies. I'll tweet when I have them. You can all retweet. I'll tweet at you guys. So I think on the publishing front, that's that. You probably all want to know what's happening with Mammoth Screen and the TV, and I bet some of you are more in touch with Gwyneth Hughes than I am, but the latest is that she's rewriting a script. They've re-optioned the license, so which means that they pay another bit of, the production company pay another bit of money to keep the license for a bit longer to keep on developing it. So that's good news, and we're just fingers crossed that we find a broadcaster and the finance and that it happens. But Gwyn will be rewriting very soon. I think somebody, who was it I was speaking to, had better intel on this than I did, Olive, I think. So I think she can fill you in better. Other than that, really, that's all I have to say. Come and ask, or if you have questions, do ask. And what I am trying to do, which I don't have anything to say about right now, is get Johnson & Johnson series back into print, so, which I love. I've been pitching for TV also, so wouldn't that be great as a kind of long-running, multi-part returnable series? I think they'd be fantastic. So, what's that? Yeah, I mean they're so gorgeous and they're so funny and they're so smart. So I think they should be back in print and on TV, personally. But there we go. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm done. 2 questions: pink and then blue stripes.
When you reissue them, do you actually edit them?
No. No. So the reissue is the text as Dorothy sort of gave it her blessing. What they do is they reset the text, which means they give it a new typographic. Otherwise, you often get smudgy text or it doesn't look very nice. So they'll reset the text and they'll proofread it again, because in that process, the typos come in by the nature of the scanning process. So no, they don't edit again. Do you think there's something they should edit? No? That's fighting words in this crowd, I can tell you. Yes? Sure. So in the UK, it's back in print and in audio, and we have it's a different David on that one, but very wonderful done. And in the US, the old paperback is still available, but the audio is not yet, and I'll update when I hear. So, yeah. Yes?
Will the audio in the US be
the same audio?
same audio?
Yeah. Yeah, so you have David all around the world. I should have also said, we have, I don't know if there is anybody from France or Portugal here, but we have French, Portuguese, and German publishers also doing at least the first book in London. So, yeah. More to come, hopefully. Yeah. Anything else? No? Great. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Good, moderate. I think in the US we're going to see there's just a bigger market, and it'll be interesting. I think audio sales will be really good. I think that's quite fun to have that in a new recording and a new digital downloadable format. That's quite important. So hopefully that'll be good. Yeah, sure. It's always different with older books. Because they don't tend to be published like what we would call front list, so you don't have stacks of the hardback at the front of the shop, etc. It is almost entirely down to the book buyers for the various indies and chains. And if they don't, Penguin did a lot of work telling people about it, but you can lead the horse to water, and you cannot make the book buyer necessarily acquire the books. They're always orderable. And if a book buyer says it's not, then there's a problem with the book buyer. It is absolutely available from a warehouse. So it's just a question of them knowing where to get it from. But that should be very straightforward. Forgive me if you have a favorite book buyer who said they couldn't find it, but please direct them to me and I will tell them where to go. So, yeah, in a nice way. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you.